I remember sitting in that car thinking I finally made it. I was in my 30s, my income was rising, career was flying, 5-bedroom family home and a brand new sports car on the drive. It looked right, it sounded right. It felt like proof that all those long hours were worth it. But here is what I didn't see at the time. The car wasn't a reward, it was a painkiller. I wasn't successful, I was exhausted. I was carrying the weight of work, family, and a growing portfolio that felt busy, not helpful. Instead of fixing the stress, I bought a toy to justify it. So if you're earning £60,000 to £80,000 right now and you still feel tight at the end of the month, this is why. Hi, I'm Chris, and if we haven't met before, I built a multi-million-pound property portfolio whilst working at high-level management positions and bringing up my family. I now live off my cash flowing assets, but I learned the hard way how not to do it. And now I want to show you how to do it properly using my From Gap to Gain roadmap. When your income starts rising, something subtle happens inside. You don't think I'm going to inflate my lifestyle. You think, I've earned a better standard of lifestyle. You instinctively want a better house, a better car, better holidays, even more convenience. There's nothing reckless about that or even outrageous, just upgrades that you have earned from taking on more responsibility. And here's the dangerous belief underneath it all. My income will keep rising. You assume the next promotion, the next pay review, the next bonus. So you allow your fixed costs to creep up quietly in line with your income. That's where most high earners lose control. Not because they're stupid, because they're optimistic. Let me give you language for this. There's a difference between earning well and being protected. The protection comes from something that I call the gap. It's the controlled amount between what you earn and what you need to live on. In my roadmap, gap is the tool that allows you to guard against poverty. And the greater the gap each month, the greater your options. Now, I know on £60,000 a year you don't feel like you're in poverty. But if you lose your job tomorrow, how long until you are? That is the poverty we are guarding against, vulnerability. Most people close that gap between income and living expense every time they get a raise. They move house, upgrade their car, increase commitments, increase lifestyle. And slowly the gap shrinks until lifestyle matches the salary perfectly each month. And when that happens, you don't have a gap anymore. You have a trap. Essentially, when high earners spend their gap on lifestyle, they are trading autonomy for pleasure. And that is the trap that erodes your gap. It can feel invisible. It doesn't look dramatic. It looks like comfort. Even the right thing to do, because that is what people earning £60,000 to £80,000 a year do. They get the nicer car, they get the cleaner, they add more convenience, they move to a better area, so there's a better school. But you're not chasing yachts, you're chasing relief. Relief from pressure, relief from stress, relief from the long hours. The problem is, every time you trade surplus for comfort, you tighten the link between your lifestyle and your employer, making it impossible to escape. You need the next raise, you need the role, you need the stability. That's the trap that high earners can quietly create for themselves. But it actually feels like progress. I'm going to be honest with you here. When I bought that expensive sports car, it wasn't the first one. But the first one, after 18 months, didn't feel like a sports car to me anymore because I saw colleagues driving better cars. And even though I knew that the first sports car was costing me way too much, I still convinced myself I deserved a better car. It cost me around £15,000 a year, which was so much money back then. Even now it would be. I didn't even tell my partner the true annual cost of that car, which was shameful. At the time, I thought, it's fine. I'm earning well. But that £15,000 a year wasn't just a car payment. For me, it was portfolio projects unfinished due to lack of capital, investments delayed, My future freedom slowed and I would have to work even more years just to reach the same target, all because of a fancy car. It was future autonomy sold off quietly. And then the wake-up call came. The car was stolen. Burglars came into my house while my family slept. And suddenly the symbol of success didn't feel powerful. It felt fragile. That was the moment I realised. I didn't want to look successful or rich. I wanted to be resilient. I bought that car at the totally wrong time. Although my earnings were higher than I had ever had, and I knew there was more growth, I did it when my outgoings were so high that I left myself short in other much more important areas of my life. There's a place very few high earners reach, not because they are not capable, but because they never prioritise their future. I call it gain, glorious autonomy and independence now. It isn't extravagance, it's control over your day. No debt pressure, no forced labour, everything covered, your time owned by you. And the only way you reach that place is by protecting the gap early, before lifestyle locks in, before the school fees harden, before the mortgage stretches, before the car allowance becomes handcuffs. Because once fixed costs solidify, once you get used to a certain way of lifestyle, then everything shrinks. You stop saying no, you stop stepping sideways, you stop experimenting, you have to tolerate pressure. Not because you're weak, because your gap just disappeared. High earners don't collapse from lack of income, they collapse from lack of margin. That's the distinction. You can earn £80,000 a year and feel tight, or earn £50,000 a year and feel free. The difference is whether you create a gap or a trap each month. If you're in your 30s right now, you are in the most seductive phase of your financial life. Your earning curve is only going to go up, your peer group is upgrading, your confidence is strong. This is when the trap feels normal. But this is when guarding your gap matters the most. Not later, now. Because gain doesn't happen by accident. It's designed. Guard the gap, refuse the trap, live in the gain. If this landed somewhere uncomfortable, watch the next video, because we're going to talk about how lifestyle inflation quietly removes your ability to say no, long before you notice it. And the earlier you see it, the less it costs you in the long run. I'll see you there. Thank you for listening.